Hey everybody, it's Yuki once again giving you guys another VRChat update, but this time it's actually for one of the things we talked about in our last news report. Last time we were talking about a regular news update, talking about the new stuff coming out, and one of the new stuff coming out is the persistence beta coming up soon for those of you who want to try it. Now, in that update, we talked about persistence TLDR, basically saying if you are a world developer and you are making like a game inside of VRChat, like recurrency and all these stuff, persistence allows you to make a what we call save slot in order for people to come back to see their stuff again. So basically, it's their version of a saving system, but the developer has to put in the persistence system inside of the thing. Now, one of the points for that update was also Example Central, where it shows you examples of what you can do with the brand new update coming down the line. So we're going to take a look at Example Central today. Now, one of the other things is build and test for mobile. We will not take a look at that today. We will take a look at that on another time. But that is something you want to take a look at if you're trying to build worlds for Android, iPhone, and etc. Now that iPhone got into the play. Okay, now let's take a look at Example Central today. In order to trigger Example Central, we will need to do two things. The first thing is open your VRChat Creator Companion VCC and go to the world that you want to use said feature. What you want to do, actually, before we do that, go to Settings and go to Packages. Packages is where you download anything that you need, like Science Player Pool or like anything you've downloaded from other creators. What you want to highlight or check is the pre-release packages. The reason being is because the Example Central is currently in beta. So make sure you understand that it is currently in beta. All right. Now, make sure you check that off. Once you have done that, go to your project and go to manage project on the project that you're working on for your world. Click on manage project. If you have done this first step correctly, where you put the trigger the show pre-release packages, VRChat SDK World and VRChat SDK Base should have a up arrow on the latest version. Make sure you upload the update that to 3.7.2-beta.1. This allows you to use Example Central and the mobile testing, but we're only going to be focusing on the Example Central today. Once you have done that, open the world like normal, like you would normally do when you're developing your world. Now that we have done that, let's take a look at Example Central and showcase what is available to developers. First, go all the way up to your toolbar and look at VRChat SDK. If you have done everything correctly, you should see a brand new icon called Example Central, and you can tell which one it is because there's a house icon next to it. This is what you're looking for. Now, as you can see, there are only four. However, there's actually more, but there is a caveat to that. There's actually more than four examples. There are, I believe, 16. But there's a caveat to those of you who want to play all of them. For those of you who are not aware, not only Example Central is in beta, but Persistence, the actual system, is also in beta. Why does this matter? You might be asking. Because in in part of that update we mentioned a few moments ago, the persistence is in beta because it's in beta test, and only a few selective few were invited to try out persistence. And we showed you in that video what what it does for world developers. Therefore, if you want to check out those, you can. You're just not going to be able to play the actual demo. But here's how you access all of them. Go to the settings cog, and you're going to see example central settings. There are two checkboxes in play. Creator economy examples deal with those using the creator economy packages. Keep in mind you must sign up for to be a seller on VRChat. So, for example, back in a few months ago, we talked about this. The creator economy is basically a Patreon inside of VRChat, where you have to use credits in order to purchase or subscribe to said creator. It's like a Patreon, but inside of VRChat. The persistence example is referring to what we talked about last week on Friday, where we talked about those the save system and all that. If you want to try check it out, you may check the boxes shown here. Now, once you have done that, you're gonna see more. We're gonna go all of them. We're gonna go through all of them just to show you guys what they do. But for the first part of this video, we're gonna take a look at the four examples that you can play with right now if you're interested in something like this. The first example is called Player Join Zones. What you need to do in order to try it out is you need to import it like a package you would normally do with like assets and prefabs. Press the import button in order to do so. So we're gonna I believe I have it here. Press import. Everything should work correctly because it is the ones that are free. Now, well, everything is free here, but in terms of like no beta, these are the ones. So we're gonna check out player join zones. So this is player join zones, and the idea here is basically if you watch me my streams on VRChat. There was one time we played that one game where you have to magic freeze tag. If you see magic freeze tag, there's this area where you have to be into, where you have to jump into in order to play. Then it's going to count how many players are in that area. The master of the world or world instance creator is allowed to press the button to start the game, and there is a countdown. That is this. So we're going to take a look at this example right now to showcase what it looks like as a player. Now keep in mind, these are small examples. This should not be taking over 25 megabytes of space when you test it. There's also a boss picker. So if you are interested in that, you can. The idea here is a lobby, basically. And for the boss picker, if there's going to be a quote unquote boss battle, you can actually select that. You have to go inside of that box. So as you can see here on the left is the player join zone. The player join zone is responsible for allowing you to join the game. And as you can see, my name comes up because as you can see, players, that's me here. You can also see the graph listener. The the concept of the graph listener is it's going to be quote unquote listening to an event, and in this case, the event is player join. And you can see the event showing up. Players now 1, players now 0, players now 1 and players now 0. Okay? Now, in order to start the quote unquote game, press the join game button just to try it out. It is a starting game, and then once you finish it, and as you can see here, the listener shows that in mode changed to 1, mode changed to 3. Now, there is no quote unquote game here. It's just to show off what the actual thing can do. Press finish game, and as you can see, the mode changed to 2. So 3 is join, 1 is in game, 2 is end game, and reset. Reset is back to players now 1. And 0 will be the mode. Now, what happens in bosses? So as you can see here, I move in, move out, move in, move out. Boss Picker has the exact same concept. There's a difference though. The picker actually has one more function and allows the player to be on quote unquote big. The avatar is going to change size. So I'm going to join the game. As you can see, I went taller. And as you can see, also see there's a score. Now keep in mind the score is random for the sake of testing out the product. And then we're gonna end the game here, and then you go back to normal size. With me as a real Lu is so small. Now, so that is the player join function. What can this be used for? Like I mentioned earlier, if you have a lobby, you can do something like this, like a weapon game, gun game, like that, or obstacle course, whatever floats your boat. So that's it for this example. Let's take a look at the other one in example central. Now, keep in mind, if you want to find these when you want to try it out, go to assets, go to examples, and then any examples you have are also here. The next one we're going to take a look at is called mute other players, and exactly what it sounds like. Exactly what it sounds like. So basically, press the button to mute players. The only thing is, they can still hear you, you cannot hear them. That's all you have to, that's all that is. Now keep in mind this should not be used if you're live streaming unless it's a sabotage live stream. What do I mean by that? For those of you who are not aware, I used to do sabotage live streams where they basically sabotage my gameplay. But in this case, you're sabotaging a live stream for VRChat. Now, will this be useful? Yes and no. One, if it's too loud in the room, you can press this button. If it's not loud in the room, unpress the button. So here we go. It says mute the button. Mute the button. Press the button below to mute or unmute all other players. Other players will still be able to hear you though. So for example, if you have an announcement to make, which in my case would be Critical Role episode 109, coming up this Thursday at 7 p.m., don't be late. I can press this button and make my announcement. But I cannot hear you guys. That's the catch. Press the button and then unpress it. Press, unpress. That's all you need to do. Now keep in mind I'm by myself. So I'm not gonna be able to test it out like I would normally do. I would actually have to put this in my world to do so. Next example is going to be, let's take a look here. We have something called the screen canvas. It's a 2D canvas I would like to share. What is this for? It's twofold. This is actually a 2D canvas with a teleporter. However, it's actually useful if you are a mobile user of VRChat. The reason being is because it's going to add a button on the top left corner of your screen. And the idea here is to allow you to teleport to a selected spot by the developer. For example, let's say you have two spots in your world, like a studio and you have your own room, for example. That's what it's used for. So let's take a look at this example here to show you guys what it looks like. It's not too bad. It's actually pretty neat. And I'm going to show you how to use it if you're on desktop. Now keep in mind that if you're willing to use this, keep in mind that it will mess up the screen because if you have too many teleports. I would recommend this only if you need to get to a specific spot, not every spot. Use regular buttons, UI, and all that. And as you can see here, we have the 2D canvas. The world has a screen space canvas which was shown on all non-VR displays. For example, the phone, Android, iPhone. The canvas has a button to teleport you to another spot in the world. Try it out. So if you're on Android or iPhone, you can see the teleport button on the top left corner. In order to use it on desktop, hold tab to unlock your cursor, go to the top left and teleport to whatever spot is shown on this left side screen. Okay, in this case, teleport button will lead us here. The second location is marked by this box in the example. Now, if you want to set one up, I'll show you guys how to do it, but not today. My goal for today is to show you guys the example central as a whole. Now, if you're on the phone, like an Android or iPhone, and you are playing in a world with 2D canvas, press the button on the left side where you want to teleport to. Now, keep in mind, like I mentioned earlier, don't go overboard with these teleporters. If you're developing a world, use the regular buttons that you would normally find in a regular world. That would be just fine. But there are times you want to use this. Okay, the last one is a slideshow, but that one I have not been able to gather correctly. Now, I do want to show other examples that have been mentioned earlier. Earlier we mentioned about persistence. So for that, we need to go back to VRChat SDK Example Central, and we need to enable our persistence examples in the second box. Now let's take a look at what changed. So now we have a few more. We have precision sync, persistence pen, world settings, persistence idle game, leaderboard, persistence post processing settings, player data types, RPG, and unlock items. I'm not going to go through all of them today because I will need persistence in order to play it. Now, keep in mind once again, if you are in the beta test of persistence, they will give you the file for player data. If you are not, if however you are not in the beta test for persistence, even if you import it, because the player data not being in there, you're not going to be able to play the examples, I believe. Now, I'm going to test out one theory. I'm going to actually import player data types. The reason why I'm doing this is I want to test out if downloading player data types is going to change anything. Nope, no, it doesn't, because there's an error, and an error is could not be finding if you are making or using directive or a assembly reference. So player data types does not work if you are not in the beta for persistence. But you are still able to import it and check it out in terms of like the editor. So we're gonna do that anyway. We're just not allowed to play, and that is going to be under player data and scene player data. So as you can see here, we have the canvas for player data. What is player data? What type of player data are they looking at? Strings, float, float, and all that good stuff. Remember, float is like a decimal number. Int is a integer, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. Float again is decimal, like 39.5, 39.7, etc. Now keep in mind, I'm not able to play this because I don't have persistence in terms of my thing here. As you can see here, the error is um the error is going to be called compile error. If you have a compiler error, you are not allowed to play. In order to remove an example, just remove the folder with that example. Like this example player data. I'm going to show you guys a few more just to show you guys what persistence is going to be able to do. One of them is RPG. That one is totally relying on persistence because you are required to save data. But before we get to that example, let's get into some other ones that I want to show off. Let's take a look at leaderboard for this one, for this next example. A leaderboard is exactly what it sounds like. A leaderboard, scoreboard kind of thing. So let's take a look at the leaderboard scene for this example. So as you can see, we have the canvas for the leaderboard. And what this is going to be doing is to showcase the how many jumps you have done in this world. The more jumps you do, the more higher you are on the leaderboard. Makes sense. That is the goal of persistence. So every time I jump, any avatar, I believe, you jump, 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 it's going to count using the jump counter script. And the idea is how many jumps can you do? Then it's going to use persistence to save that data. Once that data is saved, if you come back to the world, how many jumps did you do? Oh, wait, I did 32 jumps. I'm going to do another 30. I'm going to do another 37 for 69. Nice. I did 69 nice jumps over there. And then if you come back later, you're going to get that 69 jumps back, and then you want to do another 41 to make it 100, and so on and so forth. So it'll show you how many jumps you have done in the world. Try not to cheat though. I'm just kidding. It's just persistence data. But try your best not to cheat by jumping, 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 jumping just because of the sake of jumping. But that's persistence with jumping. The next example we're gonna take a look at is going to be, I believe, something that I'm going to use when it actually comes out to play besides the leaderboard. And that is the my I think my second favorite on this list. Unlock items. So basically, unlock items is like achievement. It's gonna be like achievements. So we're gonna take a look at how it looks. Unlock items. There we go. And then there's gonna be icons. Unlocked, unlocked, and then materials of yellow. So let's take a look at the scene. What are we dealing with here? So as you can see here, the now I'm not gonna be able to obviously test it because of no persistence. But as you can see how it's looking, time in world 1 is locked because you need, I believe, 10 minutes in order to unlock the achievement. Time in world 2 is locked because I believe you need 25 minutes. So it's going to track how many minutes you've been in the world. If you surpass amount of 10 minutes, then the achievement is going to unlock, and you're going to see this. Okay, and then you can make it like a video game where you unlock everything. And distance traveled is also valued here because, as one of the achievements is, distance moved. So it's basically like a video game instead of VRChat where you have to do this and that. And there's different ways you can do achievements like this. Like if I say find all the hidden Easter eggs of Yuki Productions, and that could be an achievement where you can find them if you wish. Now, if you think that's fun, wait until you see the final example we're going to take a look at for today. Now, when I have my hands on persistence down the line, I'm going to revisit this. We're going to redo this, but we're going to do it where I'm going to show you guys, hey, this is how it looks like. So the last example we're going to be doing is one that I think I'm going to like. And this is RPG. Literal RPG, and I'm not kidding. If you know me well, Pokemon, Mario. Speaking of Mario, come back 5:30. We're gonna be playing classic Mario RPG. Ta-da, ta-da. Seamless plug. Anyway, import. We're gonna take a look at how this looks like, and then I'm gonna explain why this is persistence is highly recommended for an RPG. Now, keep in mind, I have to delete these examples because I am building this in my Moonlight Village 2.0 file, and I don't want it to get corrupted. I mean, not corrupted. Now I'm not working because of these examples. But I will be using at least one of these in the world too. So RPG is the last example we're going to be taking a look at. So as you can see here, we have a few pedestals and a few enemies and example world setup. So if, for example, you decide to be a, let's see what's the blue one, mage. So now if you remember a few weeks ago on live VR chat with Francis the Wolf, we played a game called Magic Arena. Shout out to Lone KC. Um, Magic Arena has something similar to this particular thing here. The only difference is if you rejoin the world, you cannot be a mage again. You can be something else. This one, this one, you actually can play as a mage and stay a mage, or ranger, or fighter, or if you want to reset, you can wherever the reset pedestal is. And oh, it's right there. Okay. So the idea is when you walk up to a pedestal, your icon or avatar is going to change based on that pedestal. For example, Ranger. Yeah, Ranger is green. So either your icon changes to green or you're gonna get a bow and arrow icon. Something in that realm of possibility. Okay. Enemies. Now these are bots. And let's take a look at some of the AI here. Yeah, yeah, this is why I'm not able to do it because I don't have the player data. We're gonna be playing with this once persistence comes out for everybody. But what I'm thinking is gonna happen is now granted that these are bots, not actual players. Okay, you're gonna be able to try it out like a game, and it's gonna be a lot of fun when it comes out for everybody. And you also have prefab. You have the enemy again, persistence, not here. You have the ranger, you have the reset, and all that, and the RPG player. This is going to be nuts when it comes out. I cannot wait. I'm actually going to try this out. Now, I did mention why I said persistence is important for an RPG because you want as a as think about this as a game developer. What do you want players to save when they come back to the game next time? Money. That's number one. Number two, items inventory or weapons, armor, gear, etc. Number three, player stats, intelligence, charisma if you're playing D&D, and attack, whatever stats you normally do for an RPG. You want those player stats to be saved. Therefore, persistence is important. Persistence is important in that regard because you are trying to make a game where data is important. And player data, like an RPG, is very important because you want to make sure in Pokemon you want to master those IVs, your EV training, whatever thing. You know who you are. You play EVs and stuff. But I'm gonna tell you, this is gonna be nuts when everybody gets into play with this, and I'm excited for it too. Oh, and you get a sword as a fighter. That's cool. And whatever options are hidden because of persistence, that is going to be a lot of fun to see whatever this is. And that's all the examples I'm going to show off for today. Like again, like I mentioned earlier, when persistence comes out for everybody, we're going to actually take a look at these examples again, but this time we're going to play with these examples to show you guys what persistence looks like, and we're going to revisit some of the other ones to showcase how they look like in the world. And Moonlight Village 2 is getting closer to beta. Okay? That's all for now. If you have any questions about persistence or want to check out the last update, make sure you guys check out the description. And make sure to check out the other stuff when it comes to VRChat updates. VRChat updates are every 2 weeks on a Friday, by the way. And we just started our podcast, Yuki's VRChat Corner, where we talk about VRChat updates, and I'm gonna be starting to share my personal experiences in VRChat. Get ready, I have a few stories to tell. That's all for now. We'll see you guys very soon, and as always, keep on world building, y'all.